Three Billy Goats. Okay. It is definitely hot. I don't know what is let's see. What is my temperature? Tell me. It's not telling me. It's being mean. It's 91, but it feels like 95. But the humidity is 49%. So, I don't know. And I don't know if we're getting rain today, but we've been getting a lot of rain the last, I don't know, week, maybe, almost week. So, yeah. Hello? I probably know who that is. Yes, I do know who that is. Okay. So, I'm going to ignore that for now because it's okay to ignore it for now. Oh, Donna, it's hotter where you are. How is it hotter there? I mean, it's further north than me. It's just because of it. Whoa, no, Carol, that's terrible. That's hot. I don't want to be outside. We had some weather like that not long ago. In the recent months, it's been like that. But today it's not terrible, but it's hot. Let me see. Our weather is supposed to be like 95 to 96, 97 all week this week for the high. So, but heat indices or heat index or whatever. Yeah, with no air conditioning. That's what. From what I understand, though, their houses are built different. Okay. Okay. So, I don't want to turn my phone off because Jeff and Noah are at work. But that's my friend Stacy, Fat Man and Big Mama. Y'all go check her out on YouTube. She actually lives close to me. She was at my house Sunday, but she's sending me pictures. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started with today's study. But we're going to talk about last week's first. But today is Jeff and mine and Jeff's. How do you say it? I don't know. I'm not good with grammar today. It's our anniversary. So I don't know if I'm going to be spending as much time today as I normally do. But y'all know me. I start talking and it doesn't stop. My air conditioning went out a couple of days ago last week. $100 later, it was fixed. Oh, y'all, thank you, Donna. Y'all remember me on one of my videos, I was talking about how we got our central air fixed while Jeff was off work and all this stuff? Nope. We think now that it has a Freon leak. So, Freon is like, I don't remember how much Jeff said it was, but it's super expensive. So, we're going to have somebody come out and try to fix it. 26 years. Today is 26 years. But we're not planning on doing anything special, but he's going to be getting home at around 3:15. So what was that? So yeah, they have new federal laws on it. That's why we're going to have to figure it all out. But anyway, since it's our anniversary, I want to be done, but if I'm not, he won't care. I mean, y'all seen him. He's chill. He's whatever. But anyway, please ignore all the things. We're always doing things. But last week we talked about Hannah's prayer. And thank you. Talked about Hannah's prayer and about peace offerings and what that meant, and about offerings back in biblical times, and how that Eli's sons were abusing the offerings. And today I've only chosen to do 1 Samuel 2:18 through 36 just to finish up that chapter, because I kind of like I didn't want to go into the next part. Plus, I knew that I knew it was our anniversary. I actually thought about calling it off, but I said, no, that's not a good reason. I'm not going to do it. So I didn't. But I do have some other things before I even get started on the actual study. I'm in a weird mood. It's a good mood, so don't worry about it. But I do need to talk to y'all about some things. First of all, Jeff's daddy. He is out of the hospital. I don't know. I can't remember if I told y'all, but he not only did he have that surgery, but he also has dementia. So, like last year, I thought he had dementia. Just I had that thought because of the way he acted and things he said and things like that. Well, it was confirmed. It is confirmed now that he does have dementia. So, one day while he was still in the hospital, I don't know if it was because of the dementia or what, but he refused therapy. But then after that, he was fine. He did his stuff. The day that he refused therapy, he also slept almost all day. He didn't eat or drink much all that day. But then the next day he woke up and he was doing a lot better, and he did all the stuff. He was walking, he was getting up, he was doing all the things. But they did have to cut him. They cut him from like the groin area all the way into his calf, and they didn't expect to have to go into the calf muscle, but they had to put in artificial veins because his veins were not good enough. Now, I don't know exactly why he's having these problems, what caused this. He had a surgery to replace his knee, and then after that he started having the problems. But he has had problems he's had problems with his feet since Vietnam because he was in the war. So he's had problems with his feet since then. But then whenever Jeff was, I want to say 17, he had an accident at work, fell off a ladder and crushed his ankles. So he's had problems with his hips and his legs and stuff since then. I don't know how in depth they are, and I don't know if this has anything to do with that, but he's had problems for years. In fact, Jeff had actually quit school and went to work to help after his daddy had the accident because he couldn't work for a long time, which he did end up going back to work. His daddy did, but it took a long time. And anyway, he still needs prayers. He's still healing. He's doing well. He's going to have to go to therapy for a pretty good amount of time, but he's doing okay. Actually, I have something else I wanted to show y'all because I have not. There's a bug. Y'all. Oh, that's a mosquito. I don't know where it went. Now I probably went cross-eyed. But anyway, I wanted to show y'all some pictures I got the other day from Judy. Let's see if we can get this to. She's 10 months old now, and let's get it to flip. I'm hoping that I can get it to not have all that other stuff on it. But, oh, that's something else. Anyway, Julie Marie is doing well. She still has her TPN, which is the main line that they, the nutrients. She has that, and she has her feeding tube. She gets off the TPN, and I could be backwards on this. One of it is at 11 o'clock in the morning, and the other one is at 3. I think the TPN is 11, and then 3 is the feeding tube, and she has a few hours off of it. I think until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, she's off of both of those, and then she goes back on them at that time. So she has a few hours of freedom with no tubes every day, which is awesome. But she's doing good. She's sassy. She's beautiful, and she is eating baby food. Some. Judy said she makes faces every time that she does, but she still eats it. She makes funny faces, but she's still eating it. So that's great news. And I still want to thank y'all for all the prayers, and keep praying for her to get off of all of the tubes forever. That's that's our prayer now, is that she completely gets off of all of it, that she eats and is able to have enough that she doesn't need that stuff. So that's one thing that I want to talk to y'all about. And Just keep Judy and David in your prayers. They got a lot going on. They have 4 kids. Well, the 3 oldest are not David's, but he says they're his. But anyway, keep them in your prayers. They got a lot going on with them, with 4 kids, and 3 of them have special needs. It's different. And let's see what else. I can't. Okay, Amy, she is on here on YouTube. What is the name of her? I don't want to get the name of her channel wrong, but so I need to get this the right way. So what is the name of her channel? Come on. I just was talking to her. Her husband is having testing done for his heart. Our blessed family is our_blessed_family. What is that? Anyway, that is the name of her channel and her Instagram. But her husband is having cardiac test. She's growing quick. So keep them in your prayers. Amy and Cameron, she calls him Cam, but keep them in your prayers. And if I think of anything or anyone else during this time, other than Donna's brother, I know he is. Let me just look at my prayer list too to tell you if there's anybody new since the last time we talked. See, this is why I like this little book. Joanne Thompson's granddaughter. She has hearing issues. She's 2 months old. I want to say Namari is how you say her name. I'm not positive, but I think that's the way you say her name. It's Namaari. But Joanne Thompson, she's a lady who follows me here on YouTube, and keep them in your prayers. So if you didn't understand everything I said, you can watch the playback. But yeah, there's a lot of people that need prayers right now, but those are the ones that I can think of right this minute, and the new ones that I have written down. So let's get into this. I don't have a lot to talk about today because it's just a few short verses. Well, not short, but I wanted to do this because 1, I love Bible study. 2, because I think that this part of this chapter is leading us into, like, how they say out with the old, in with the new type of situation. I think that's where it's going. So I wanted to go over this today. So let me start with verse 18. But Samuel ministered before the Lord, even as a child, wearing a linen ephod. And in the Bible, it talks about how that the ephod was supposed to be made and all that stuff. I think it's in Leviticus. I could be wrong. I should have looked it up. But anyways, he wore a linen ephod. Moreover, his mother used to make him a little robe and bring it to him year by year when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. And Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife and say, "The Lord give you descendants from the woman for the loan that was given to the Lord." Then they would go to their own home. So every year, Eli would pretty much the same blessing that he prayed over Hannah. That's the way I feel like he was praying it. That blessing, he would bless them each time they came. And she had Samuel after that blessing, and her promise to God was, "I'm going to give him back to you." Well, she wasn't asking from Eli to give her that blessing, but he was doing it. At least that's what I understand. And the Lord visited Hannah so that she conceived and bore 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the child Samuel grew before the Lord. So she had 3 sons and 2 daughters after it. So she had 6 children. That's the way I understand it. It might have been just 5 because they might count one of the sons as Samuel, but I think it's 6. In my mind, that's the way it works. I could be wrong, but it doesn't really matter how many she had. Either way, she did what she promised to the Lord, and she got blessed because she followed through with what she had said she was going to do. So now we're going to go on to the prophecy against Eli's household, which in a way, some people might say, oh, it's the son's fault. But I feel like it's also Eli's fault. But we'll go on into this now and talk about it a little bit. Now, Eli was very old, and he heard everything his sons did to all Israel, and how they lay with the women who was assembled at the door of the tabernacle meeting. So right there, I want to stop and go to Exodus 38:8. What am I doing with my hands today? I don't know. Let's just not worry about my hands and just do the things. I don't know. I'm in an odd mood. It's not a bad mood, though. It's a good mood. So, and no, I'm not on drugs, I promise. I'm just in a good mood, y'all. I don't know. It's a good thing. 38:8. He made the laver. Wait a minute. Did I write the right one down? Yes, I did. He made the laver of bronze and its base of bronze from the bronze mirrors of the serving women who assembled at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. So, it says here that the sons, that they lay with the women who were assembled at the door of the tabernacle meeting. And the reason why I wanted to go to that scripture is because this Bible that I'm using, which is the Cultural Backgrounds Study Bible, if y'all can see that, maybe. There we go. I wanted to go over to the notes because it explains a little bit about what the women were there for. The serving women who assembled at the door. That's what verse 38:8 is about. Unlike much of the rest of Exodus 35 through 40, this verse contains information not already given in Exodus 25 through 31. Okay. Women could serve in a variety of capacities at a sacred shrine. Some temples maintained large estates, operated economic ventures, and thus employed women to provide labor in the form of agricultural and weaving work. Some women served as devotees of a particular deity and lived often as celibates within the precinct of the deity's shrine. Others held what was essentially the status of slave and served the temple to which they were attached. Some speculate that such women could have been hired out as prostitutes to generate income for the temple. Exodus offers no clear indication regarding the precise role these women played in the life of tabernacle, though it seems unlikely that their service was economic in nature. Since we know that women in other societies were involved in the basic operations and upkeep of religious shrines, it is reasonable to assume that Exodus is speaking of similar functions here, though it may be hinting that they remained at the door of the shrine because they were not allowed to enter within. So we really don't know if they were there as prostitutes, if they were there as slaves, if they were there because they were working for like doing weaving and doing garden stuff, like how Ruth was gathering the grain and everything, or if they were just at the entrance because they couldn't go in, they weren't allowed to go in. And from what I understand, the tabernacle here in 1 Samuel, it was the one that was like a tent and they moved it. I'm not sure, but I think that's the one it was. So back to 1 Samuel, Eli's sons, Phineas and Hophni, I think that's their names. If I'm wrong, I'll find out soon. They were laying with these women. They were doing things they shouldn't have been doing. So he said to them, "Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all the people. No, my sons, for it is not a good report that I hear. You make the Lord's people transgress." So what Eli is saying is, you're causing the Lord's people to transgress. You're causing them to fall away from God. You're causing from what my thoughts is, you're causing their sacrifices to not mean as much or not be accepted by the Lord. Now, in my own mind, knowing how good God is and what I have read about him, do I think that God would hold that against those innocent people? No, I don't. I don't think that. But I could be wrong. But I really don't feel like God would hold it against them because of two evil priests. I hope he wouldn't. I don't think he would. But anyway, what Eli is telling his sons is they are causing the people to sin. They are not a good example. They are having relations with women that are not their wives. They're doing things they should not be doing, and they are causing sin in God's people. Because from what I understand, back in that, everybody didn't have a Bible. They definitely didn't have 60 Bibles like I do. I think I have about 60. I may not. But they didn't have a bunch of Bibles just around. They didn't even have one, from what I understand. And everything that they learned about God's teachings was taught to them from the priest and from other people, like maybe their fathers, maybe their mothers as children. But they were taught God's word through someone else who knew it, someone else who had the scrolls. It's like people will follow what they see and others in high positions do. Exactly. So they didn't have this to go back and say, oh, well, that's not what God says. We can't go and something on there. We can't go, and they couldn't go and say, you're contradicting God's word. You're not following God's laws. They couldn't do that because they had no way at home to see God's laws like that, from what I understand. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. But the priests were the ones that were there to guide the people, and they were horrible guides because they were guiding them into sin, into transgression, into bad things. So let's see. Where was I at? 25. If one man sins against another, God will judge him. But if a man sins against the Lord, who will intercede for him? Nevertheless, they did not heed the voice of their father because the Lord desired to kill them. So that's telling us that God desired to kill them, so they weren't going to listen anyway. So I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 1:17, and it talks about, let's see, where am I at? 1:17. It talks about judgment. You shall not show partiality in judgment. You shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid in any man's presence, for the judgment is God's. I can't read. Let me turn the page. Come on. The case is too hard. Wait a minute. The case that is too hard for you, bring to me and I will hear it. So, let's see. Who is it saying this? I don't remember who was saying this. I believe it. I should have looked even further back to find out who was saying this. I'm not doing well with that part. But either way, what it's saying is they couldn't show partiality. And they had to hear the transgressions. And in 2:25, where am I at? Okay. It said, if one man sins against another, God will judge him. But if a man sins against the Lord, who will intercede for him? So if one is sinning against another man, then there was judgment. But who's going to intercede? Let me say this again. If one man was sinning against another man, the priest would intercede and help Well, these priests were evil. They were corrupt. So, but then it says here, Eli is saying, if you sin against God, who's going to intercede? Because God is the one who is the judge, the final judge. And the priest is who is supposed to be interceding. And if the priest is sinning, then he can't intercede. He can't do. I hope this makes sense. It makes sense in my brain, and I'm pretty sure y'all have figured me out by now. But anyway, it's saying, who's going to intercede for you? That's what Eli is asking his children. And then in Deuteronomy 25:1, it says, if there is a dispute between men and they come to court, that the judges may judge them, and they justify the righteous and condemn the wicked, then it shall be, if the wicked man, this is going on to verse 2, man deserves to be beaten, the judge will cause him to lie down and be beaten in his presence according to his guilt with a certain number of blows. Well, with these two, there's just no intercession. There's no possible way that, I mean, they don't have a go-between. They don't have someone to speak for them. They're speaking for themselves. They are the ones that are supposed to be speaking for others. And they're speaking for themselves. And pretty much they're taking God's word and throwing it in the garbage. They're taking his word and saying, I don't have to listen to you. It's like they're spitting in his face. They're saying, God, I don't care about your laws. And I don't care if all of these people who are following us don't learn your laws. I don't care if I am making these people transgress. I don't care about these people. All I care about is me and what I'm getting out of it. So what they were getting out of it was free room and board and all the women they wanted and living the high life, which is what you see a lot of people do now. They're living the high life. They're doing something for it, but it's not good. It's evil. So on down to verse 26, back in 1 Samuel, and 1 Samuel 2:26. And the child grew in stature and in favor with both the Lord and men. Then the man of God came to Eli and said to him, Thus says the Lord. I'm used to the King James. Did I not clearly reveal myself to the house of your father when you were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? Now, the man that came to them, I'm not sure who it is because I can't remember honestly, but I'm thinking it's a prophet, because usually the prophets, the men of God, were prophets, and they came to talk to the people to tell them what was going to happen. But anyway, when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house, did I not choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer upon my altar, to burn incense, and to wear an ephod before me? And did I not give to the house of your father all the offerings of the children of Israel made by fire? So I want to go to Leviticus 2:3. Why I didn't mark that one? Oh, well, it's not hard to find. Leviticus. It's right after Exodus. There we go. I thought I marked all of them. All right, Leviticus 2:3. The rest of the grain offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is most holy of the offerings of the Lord made by fire. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because in Leviticus is telling them the offerings are for the priest, the high priest. They are they're important. They're something special that others don't get, if that makes sense. That's the point I was trying to get across, I guess, is they were something different than what what everybody else had. They were special. They were part of the offering. They were something that nobody else got. So Then in verse 29, it says, why do you kick at my sacrifice and my offering, which I have commanded in my dwelling place, and honor your sons more than me, to make yourselves fat with the best of all the offerings of Israel, my people? So the prophet is asking Eli, why are you doing this? Why are you allowing your sons to do this? Why are you, who are supposed to be over them, who's supposed to be guiding them, why are you allowing them to disrespect God in this way? Why are you allowing them to disrespect God's house, to disrespect the people's offerings? That's just like we go to a pastor and we ask him to pray for us, and he says yes, but he never does. I mean, it's not just like that. I feel like this was much worse than what going to a pastor and asking him to pray. But he is asking him, why? Why are you allowing this? Why are you letting this happen in God's house? Let's see. Then on verse 30, therefore the Lord God of Israel says, I said indeed that your house and the house of your father would walk before me forever. But now the Lord says, far be it from me, for those who honor me I will honor, and those who despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days are coming that I will cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, so that there will not be an old man in your house. And you will see an enemy in my dwelling place, despite all the good which God does for Israel. And there shall not be an old man in your house forever. But any of your men whom I do not cut off from my altar shall consume your eyes and grieve your heart, and all the descendants of your house shall die in the flowers of their age. So what he is saying is, you're the last of the line. Your sons are it. That's done. It's over. They won't even live to be old. Your sons will not get to the point of old age. They won't enjoy their lives. They won't enjoy being God's servants. They're going to die. And I was wondering while I was reading this, is this the last of the Levitical? I know that there's a change in the priesthood, which I know Jesus changed all of that, but there's going to be a change. But anyway, it says 34, now this shall be a sign to you that will come upon your two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. Yeah, I was right. Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they shall die, both of them. So they're both going to die on the same exact day. Then I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who shall do according to what is in my heart and in my mind. I will build him a sure house, and he shall walk before me, my anointed, forever. And it shall come to pass that everyone who is left in your house will come and bow down to him for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread, and say, please put me in one of the priestly positions, that I may eat a piece of bread. So that's all of the scriptures that I had chosen for today. But what he's saying, what this prophet is saying to Eli is, you have allowed your sons to desecrate, to just, well, desecrate is the right word, I would think, the house of the Lord. You have let them contaminate it. You've let them come in and hurt my people by showing my people the wrong way to live, by showing them that man is right and God is wrong, that all of my fleshy feelings and desires are okay. Okay, comment question. If said children or adults, how is he to stop them? What am I getting at is, when your child comes to a certain age, how are you to stop them from doing things they shouldn't? Personally, I give them a killing they have to live through. I know God took it into his hands, but how God expects us to control an adult child. I feel like that it didn't start as adult children. I feel like that Eli was allowing these boys to do things they shouldn't before they ever became adults. I don't know for sure. And honestly, I don't know how, other than Eli killing, they have to live through, not meaning abuse at all, to be clear. Okay. What I feel like is maybe Eli should have taken the priesthood back to himself instead of allowing them to do these things in God's house, because he still was over them as high priest, as leader, as that kind of thing, I feel like. But I mean, the way, okay, I put it this way. My children are adults, both of them. I'm still trying to get them to understand that they are adults and that they can do things on their own. Yeah, obedience does begin in childhood, and I don't feel like they were obedient in childhood. I think they were bad before. Well, yeah, bad. They were bad because if you're going against what God says, you're bad. I mean, there's no getting around it. That doesn't mean you can't ever be good. That doesn't ever mean that you can't ever do better and change. But I was bad at one point. But as I was saying, my children are both grown. They're 22 and 23 years old. And the way I see it, I still have influence. I can still talk to my children because I talked to them whenever they were younger, I guess is what how am I trying to say this? Because of the influence I had over them as small children, because of the way that we raised them, I can still influence their decisions now. I can still talk to them and say, hey, that's not a good idea, or that is a good idea. I can still guide them. Now, if I had just let them run wild as younger children, then probably couldn't guide them now. Let's see. My son did something once and he had to do laundry for 3 months for what he did: wash, dry, fold, hang, and put away for 3 months. That is killing he had to live through. Yeah. Well, my children do live with me. And if they do something that breaks one of our rules, which honestly, now that my children are adults, they have the same exact rules in our home as their parents. Because they are adults, they are responsible. They have the same rules we do. And when I say that, I mean they have to live by the same guidelines that we do in our house. They have to respect the home. They have to do, all those things. Now, let's just say, and he would never do this, so I'm going to preface this by saying that if Noah came in and just started throwing laundry everywhere, or if he just started leaving disgusting messes or anything like that, that is a rule in our house. You clean up what you mess up. You take care of things that you are responsible for. Or let's just say it was something worse. Let's just say he started driving like a crazy wild person, which he wouldn't do because he respects his vehicles. And he respects others on the road, and he respects his own body. But if he did, and he started getting tickets, and he started getting in trouble with the law, and he started doing this and that and the other, there are rules. We don't break laws. We don't break rules of the home. And one of the rules of the home is you don't break laws. And you don't break God's law, and you don't break man's law. Now, there are times where you mistakenly do things, and that will, that's different. But if he started doing it purposefully, I still have the influence, I feel like, and his daddy has the influence to talk to him to get him back on the right track. I feel like Eli's sons were so far off the track that he had let them go so long that they weren't ever going to get back on the track. Because you don't start out as a rule breaker. You don't start out. I mean, a baby is not going. Yes, we all have sin in our lives. Yes, we all sin. No matter who you are going to sin at some point unless you die as an infant. Unless you die as a very small child, you are going to sin. But you don't start out doing things you're not supposed to do. Hi, Debbie. You don't start out with that. So I feel like Eli and their mother, Eli's wife, I feel like they allowed the children to go down the wrong road before they ever got to the point of being priests. Before they got to their part of where that because they were in that lineage, they were supposed to be the priest. That was what God had said. They were already doing stuff. And Donna, I know you've talked about your children, and I feel like the way you raised your children, you and your husband raised them, they'll listen to you. Even with maybe some difficulties they might have, they still listen to the voice of reason. And I don't believe there was a voice of reason going on at that time, which there is something else. And this is one reason why I wish I would have I wish we would have studied the book of Judges before we started with 1 Samuel, before we started with Ruth, because there were other things going on in Judges that I feel like had something to do with some of this as well, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and study it. But they were just bad seeds. You know, there's always going to be people who are going to go against God. There are always going to be people who are going to go the wrong way. And there's nothing we can do to control that once people have gotten a certain age. I have a nephew who he had a good childhood. He has great parents. But there are things that happened in his life that he got on the wrong track. And he got into things he shouldn't have been, drugs and stuff like that. But he would try to get better. He would go and try to get help, and he would get off the drugs and then get back on them and get back and forth. And then just in the last 6 months, he got saved. He's completely turned his life around. He's a different person. But it did take time for him to get there. But nobody gave up on him. God didn't give up on him for sure. His parents didn't give up on him. And because of this, he did go to the where he was supposed to go. I don't feel like, in my own opinion, I don't feel like Phineas and oh my goodness, what was his Hophni? I think that's how you say it. I don't think that they would ever have gotten on the right track. And the reason why I feel like that is because God said he was going to take care of it. He was going to stop it. He was going to stop that line, stop that family line. And if God is stopping the family line, it's pretty bad. Now, I don't know of anything Eli ever did, but his children were evil. So that's where that it all gets to where that it's pretty rough. You know, it's not what God wanted. It's not the way it should be. And I shouldn't have closed my Bible. I don't know why I did, because I need to we're probably going to do, I want to say just chapter 3 next time, but we may do chapter 3 and 4. We'll see. But we're staying on 1 Samuel. Let's see. Debbie said, my daughter is that person. She's almost 34 and been in trouble since her teens. She was raised in God, but kept getting in the wrong people and still is. Her best friend is atheist. Now she thinks like him. I have tried getting through to her. Debbie, just keep praying. That's all I can say, is just keep praying, because that is what we did for my nephew. We just kept praying and believing, and I kept telling my sister that it's going to happen. He's going to see that God is better that God is who he needs to rely on, not himself, not man, not drugs, not anything else. I kept telling her that, and now she tells me, you said it was going to happen. You said it was going to I just felt it. I just felt that he was going to be okay. But, and that he was going to come to God. And he, at times, himself said he didn't feel like there was a God, that God wasn't there. But God grabbed him, and whenever he did, my nephew hasn't let go. I don't want to say his name. I almost did. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, so y'all don't know who I'm talking about. But he has now changed his life, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to know that you can change your life, and it's a wonderful thing to know that we have hope that if our children are in the situation that Debbie's daughter is, we can still hope that and pray that God is going to change them, because God will. It may take a lot. It may take a bad thing for them to change. But if we just consistently pray and don't give up and don't ever let the devil come in and start saying, oh, well, he's never going to get saved. He's never going to get changed. He's never going to change anything. He's always going to live this life. He's always going to be around those people. Start praying for those people. Start praying for her friend. I turned her to God in 2016 when the stress put me in the hospital with a breakdown. Chaplain came to see me and I broke down crying. He said to let me, let her go and give it. Exactly. You let it go and you give it. We can't do it. We can't. We cannot make a person understand how wonderful God is. We can't do. I cannot tell you what God means to me. I can tell you stuff, but you don't truly know. You don't truly know the feelings that I feel. Okay, I don't know who you are, but goodbye. we're not. Oh, thanks, but okay. That person is not good. I don't know who it was. I didn't hear from her a year after. He's her boyfriend, not best friend. Oh, boyfriend. Okay, sorry, I read it wrong. Well, pray for that boyfriend. Pray for that boyfriend, and God can change anybody's heart. I don't care who you are. I mean, you hear stories about atheists becoming Christians all the time. You just pray for that person. Yeah, it's a troll. It's a troll, but I got rid of it. I got rid of it. But yeah, we just have to keep praying and keep the faith. And yes, it's gonna bother us. Yes, our flesh is gonna say, oh, well, she's doing that again. But just love on her whenever you see her. Talk to her like you would normally. Don't tell her how bad she is. Don't, I think that one thing that helped my nephew is nobody treated him different. We treated him with the same love we treat everyone else. And that's what we're supposed to do as Christians. And he wasn't a bad person. He was just hurting himself. He wasn't really, yeah, he was hurting people because it hurt us to know that he was on drugs and stuff. That kind of hurt. But he was hurting his own body. And that hurt us. But it didn't cause us to not love him. It didn't cause us to not treat him the same. And Debbie, my advice, and I'm not the most wonderful person in the world to give advice, but would be to even her boyfriend, accept him and love him anyway, unless he's abusive to her, and then we might have to get him put in jail. But accept him and love him anyway, just like Jesus did. Oh, wow, you're back under a different name. Wow, okay. Let's see. They're on it today, y'all. They are just here today. This is the first time in a long time I've had a troll on a live. Our relationship is strained and will never be good. Trying to get her to come to see me 20 minutes away, I get more out of the wall. I'm not allowed to know her address. Oh wow. Well, pray that your relationship will be restored. I'm going to put you on my prayer list. I'm going to do it right now, and I'm going to start praying for y'all every day, because your relationship can be restored. And just don't give up. Just love on her like Jesus would. I mean, Jesus loved everybody. He didn't care who you were. He didn't care. I mean, he loved us, and I know we're not perfect. I don't know everything y'all have done, but I know we're not perfect. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody sinned. Everybody, unless you're a tiny little thing, a tiny little baby, we've all sinned. All of us have fallen short. And some things might be worse than others in humans' eyes, but let's see, I don't have a car, so I can't see her. His family won't allow me to know because they rent a tiny house at his brother's house. Oh, wow. Oh, I could spell things right. Well, just keep praying, and one day she'll see. I mean, it may not be any time, a long time from now. I mean, close time from now, but it might. You just gotta keep praying. That's the only thing. I mean, it took years for my nephew. Yeah, my sister could too with her son. I mean, and then there's just another one. Oh wow, there's just so many. They're just gonna keep coming out here today. Well, just keep praying for both of them, and I'll be praying for them. I'll be praying for you. And yeah, they got an effort. They got an A for effort. That's what trolls do once they and it's stupid. It's just somebody who is just trying to cause trouble, trying to just get somebody's attention and mess up something. But we don't worry about trolls. We love them anyway because they need prayer too. We need to pray for the trolls too, y'all. Seriously, because they got something wrong with them. Yeah, but I guess I'm gonna go because Jeff will be home soon, and like I said, it's our anniversary, so we're gonna do something. I mean, we probably won't do much of anything. We're not going out to eat. I'm cooking tacos for supper. At least that's the plan, unless Jeff gets home and something changes. And if it does, he better tell me quick because Noah's coming home from work. Yeah, I reported him too. But yeah, I'm glad y'all came and what am I trying to say? I'm glad you joined me today for this study. I really do enjoy studying this book of the Bible. And I enjoy studying every book of the Bible. I don't know what I'm saying that for, but thank you, Debbie. But yeah, I enjoy it. I appreciate you spending your time with me whenever I come do this on Tuesdays. And it's really good to have others to study with. And I will see y'all next time. And I don't know where Carol went, but I guess she's still here. Probably so. But I'll see y'all later. Thank you for joining me. And remember, don't take any wooden nickels and be sweet.